你就在这儿蓄水，蓄水就是用一笔水啊加上去，因为它扩散的不够，又加上水，它又往外扩散，扩散到你满意的程度，赶紧的捂住，吸走把水，要不它再往外扩散的就坏事儿了。就这样它就有那个毛茸茸的感觉了，这是一种点燃的画法，这是一种戳笔的画法。还有啊，介乎二者之间还可以有一种画法。按照解谱来画，一块一块这样。等它干了以后，它肯定不够，干了以后这个颜色要淡的，你就想这个颜色不够了，完了以后再缺点，现在不能够缺点，一缺点都废了。缺的时候也得先把笔在这个纸上这个试好了以后呢，再往这上去戳。往这上戳时，你别先戳脑袋，你先戳这个不关紧要的地方啊，就不容易出问题的地方，好比说尾巴，在尾巴当中戳，在这儿戳就不会出问题。戳的你认为最好的时候了，这笔你在这儿容易出问题的地方，再在这儿来戳，这么戳。至于熟练了以后，那你就愿意怎么戳你就怎么戳吧。熟练了以后是另外一回事儿。开始的时候这样有好处。那现在我就顺着这个画了。戳的这个厚度啊，这个根据情况也可以戳得很重，也可以戳一点儿。
Hello everyone, I'm Henry. Now, thanks for joining me again. The video you watched earlier was just a testing. I will show the video later in the class with translation. Okay. If you missed anything, don't worry. Okay, we're still expecting some more people. So you can start doing some sketch with the handout. If you don't have the handout, check the chat room I uploaded there. Just practice a little bit with the pencil. Just draw those sketches. Okay, let me check one thing before I come. Okay, I need to record, and also we will make a copy on YouTube. Just a minute. Okay. So I'm not going to wait because we're recording it. So if they come late, they will have to replay it. So today we're going to study another animal, which is very common in many parts of the world, especially in the States. I've been in Seattle and Colorado and California. Everywhere I go, I have neighbors, these little neighbors with me in my neighborhood or backyard. Now we have them just on our fruit trees. Let me show you some pictures. Just show you some inspiration for the class. Okay. Let me show some recent pictures from our backyard. If you don't have experience with sparrows, let me just show some. I did this video. Let me see. I have to share with the screen. You have to see this one in the. Let me see. How can I share that? I'll share this clip. Okay. I did last week. It's very inspiring. Let me play this. Just 15 seconds. Oops. It's early in the morning. And this little sparrow having breakfast on the wall near this loquat tree. Do you know loquat? This is an Asian fruit. They grow very well in California, Southern California. You see how big this fruit is compared to his head? That's a very nice picture right there. Look at the size of the, yeah. And he actually peel off the skins if you check the, So we got the seeds and the skins all around it under the tree, and Victoria had to clean them. Okay. Isn't that cute? I'm going to also share some other pictures. Let me see. Yeah, some still pictures here. This is taken yesterday or day before yesterday. You can see all the fruits are gone. The loquats are gone. this fat, very fat squirrel come every day during the harvest season. So it has to wait for the next year. We're going to have the figs in the yard. They're in the fall, so they're all around. Let me see. Sometimes we have them on the banana tree. You see this one? Very interesting. They use it as a step to come to get other things. We have blueberries or strawberries, are in our backyard. They just come. They also eat the dry banana leaves for some reason sometimes. And this is a painting I did just based on that picture. Okay, let me go back to the book. We have a textbook that you can get online from Blue Heron, and I translated some key pages for this class. And this is called the technique of painting, painting technique of the squirrels, written by Chen. Actually, he's not famous, but his teacher, Sun Qifeng, is a master. That's why I showed you the early video, and I will show you again. So his style is followed his teacher Sun Qifeng's style, and we'll explore these different techniques. And if we go back to history a little bit, let me show you. So we better maybe see the master first. The source, okay, is this. Let me show you this one. Oops. I'm sorry, I think I got technical issues. Open with. Okay, at least we can see some. Yeah, this artist is named Xu Gu. I think I have a book I need to get from another room. Hold on, please. Oh, here. I just misplaced it. Okay, this is a book. I carried this book all the way from China with me. I didn't bring any clothing, you know, all the luggage when I came to the States are full of art supplies and books. And then this book is one of them. You can see how important it is, you know. It's a heavy book, but I have learned a lot from this this artist. His name is Xu Gu, pronounced as Xu, as in X, as in SH sound, Gu. And his squirrels are the most famous among his paintings. I bookmarked some of the pages, so you don't have to go through all this. You just jump to that. This is an old book, so it's not high quality print. I did have another version. I think some old student may have bought. We currently out of stock. There are mostly in color, but you can still see it. I like to just use black and white as reference, so I'll be more free to recreate. You can see all this spirit, this on black. I do have a picture with this one in black and I mean in color. Yeah, that's the one we're looking at on the left, lower left, right? Let me see. I cannot. Okay, you can see it, right? I just want to check. And he's very stylized as his Buddhist monk name or Dharma name. Xu Gu suggests he does everything. Xu means void, versus solid, So his style is very unique, very recognizable among other Shanghai masters. He's one of the 4 founders of the Shanghai school. That's the school that my teacher and the teacher's teacher are rooted. So he does a lot of vegetable and the fruits. Another, I try to find a color one. Oh, this is another black and white. We do have color in digital format, I think. I'll just show you this. And this is the loquat fruits, you know, the video you just saw. And this is the autumn leaf with a squirrel. This is on silk, I believe. So, and he is a very influential artist. Many he was admired by many other masters in his time and later. So he's an inspiration for our squirrel painting class today. We still have new students sign up. Let me see. Yeah, this is she goes, yeah, okay. This is the exact thing as you know, the one with the picture, like the picture I took on a loquat tree, right? Squirrels on loquat tree. Look at how abstract these eyes are. Just an X is very contemporary. He lived in, I think he lived in 1823 to 1896. So he lived in late 19th century. So I just want to inspire you with this verse. As you can see, he almost does it in a detailed style, you know, like we might call it semi-gombi or yeah, it's elaborated, very elaborated. I think it's on semi-sized shuan, not so absorbent maybe. But there is a style that we will do with a more absorbent paper and the smearing effect. Let me show you that. Some other samples from different artists. Okay. Okay, this artist is named Sun Qifeng. I already put a note when we broadcast his video. Let me repeat it in the book. I mean in the chat room. Sun Qifeng. He's still alive. Good news. He was born in 1920, and this year is his 100th birth year. So he's still active, great teacher and artist. He a lot of good students. He was a professor in Tianjin University, I think. So he's still alive. See how spontaneous it is. It's on side and unsized paper. Instantly, we can start to draw. When you see some masterpiece, you don't want to copy everything like detail, but you want to copy the strokes. Like let me show you what I would do. So when I see this picture, right, I think I'm doing it because on my screen it's the opposite. It's okay. This should be left and right is reversed. When when I see my zoom is mirrored. Okay, here we go. So I will make a record like this. I just draw big so you can see, so, because you can clearly see his stroke mark, like with watermark between strokes. So you can draw these notes, like how many strokes for each part. This is very clear. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a big add water. So you can say I add water, second stroke, second row of second set of strokes, maybe from 5 to 6. So I can even see the directions. This is very, very helpful, And then you draw this this big S-shaped tail. So 7 strokes, and then you add the arm and the leg, something like that. So this is how you take notes. So when you see some master's pieces, and you should practice this, and you can even draw a template like this. And you put on the bottom of under the rice paper, so you can start steeping. Just using the steeping technique, I will show you the Shigu does. This is also a direct painting style by Sun Qifeng. We call it pouring ink, maybe, just direct calligraphic spontaneous style using large brush. And he also followed, you can see his, he's certainly influenced by the Grandmaster Xu Gu from Shanghai, right? And that's the stippling style. I call it dotism, maybe. Dry brush dots. It's too small to see. Let me show you larger pictures. Okay, can you see that dots similar to Shigu? Shigu lived in 19th century. There's no picture, even not that long video recording. But now we have, fortunately, some videos from the living master. He's 100 years old, but he made some recording earlier, teaching videos. We can get access. So we can kind of through him to learn Shigu's method. And this is what we call bonus style, maybe direct, wet and dry style. We will do this first, this style first. Okay, this is how he asked us to take notes, like I did earlier. So if we okay, this is how I do. Try to draw something, any kind of paper. It could be a computer paper. Just use charcoal or pencil or brush, or you can use, just draw this, because purposely I'll do a mirror one because I like to flip it. Anyway, you can flip it. It doesn't matter. So I will draw according to the shape of the stroke, not the the actual animal, and this maybe the sequence, because I with the ink painting you can see this kind of sequence. But this we just learn how to take notes. When you, this is the master's notes. He will draw this kind of template for himself before he does ink painting. Like a Qi Bai Shi, I showed you how he do his freestyle. So you have to prepare the spontaneous style. You cannot just do it really spontaneously. You have to have some template, some guidelines, some grid. I mean, template or stroke guide. Okay, so something like this, and you just that's the way of doing this kind of. You can draw the the trace of the tip, brush, something, or if the tip is on the side, you can make notes of that. Yeah, you can also write notes, like where it's dark and where it's light. So I'll put like a dark, something like that. You can put notes. Okay. Now let's go to the book and start doing some exercise. Let me start from the head, or let me see, this page, I think. Okay. I have a printout here, so let me just go through the handouts first. So on page 1, we try to compare the rabbit with squirrels. Let me see if I have a picture of yeah. Okay, this picture I found online is not part of the book. As you can see, compared to rabbit, the squirrel has a big, giant tail, where rabbit doesn't have. And the rabbit has a very exaggerated banana shape, large ears. But rabbit has very tiny ears. But the body and the face, quite similar, I think. So the technique we use is also very similar. So if you learn by analogy, you can compare the rabbit class earlier and this, and you know how to do the ears and nose, etc. For the body, we use 4 circles to represent. I would, let me see if I enlarge this. Not very clear, but let me see. Okay, here we go. Yeah, you can circle the head, and then the shoulder part, the belly, and a chest, a belly in the middle of the body, and then the hip part, the back hip. The back hip is the largest part of the body. So the 4 circles are not even. The head is the smallest, maybe. So it's the belly, the middle part. The middle part, you may just do the upper part, like a master Sun did. He just draw this curve. And also this one. So this could be a 1 circle, but as a 2 strokes, 1 circle, 2 circle, 3, and then a curve combine 3 and 4. That's let me just do it here. So if we draw this, roughly, and then big one, something like that, and kind of combine that, and then you dot the details, feature of the something like that. The arms and legs are very short and hidden, not like the deer. If you compare to deer, they're kind of folded, those boxes, remember we mentioned, it's all overlapping here. So it's not useful to draw those boxes for squirrels, I think. So that's, we just use 4 circles, all right? And then page 2, we talk about the 3 methods of painting squirrels. Long hair. This is more realistic, I will say, but there are, could be expressive or impressionistic. Let me talk about the brushes we're going to use. And we know that we have 3 basics, but for today's purpose, if you have something like these will be very helpful. Very old, some broken brushes. The brushes you hit it in other class, for other subject matters like this. You certainly throw it away, but it's a treasure when it comes to sparrows. Okay, I just found this in one of my brush holder with all these kind of brushes. And some brush may be not very good, not pointed for calligraphy. They're perfect for this. You might want to try, if you have the landscape brush, we have like a mountain horse. Yeah, the Fubashi landscape brush is designed for split brush technique. So split brush is what we need. We also have this one for sale, and this too. Also, let me introduce this. You might see a different handle, but that's from different batch. But basically, this brush we call stippling brush, like a stencil. But stencil brush is too flat. This one's split. Let me give you some idea. Okay, I just use some drawing I did for another class. See, I got the rat here. This is for the zodiac class I did this year. So let's get some ink. You can follow me to just try out the brushes. If you don't have this kind of specialty old board brush, we call it. You may use let's say this is a combination brush, or just a stiff brush, just a regular stiff brush. The basic stiff or basic soft brush. Okay. Let's try this first. Maybe most of you have, right? And then we'll see. Okay, let's just get a little bit ink from this ink cake. And for this class, instead of using a blotting paper, you can use, I learned this tip from a master in China in another class, lesson 19. If someone is taking 19, the Misty landscape is split brush technique from Zhu Yan Mo, Z-H-U, Zhu. His last name is Zhu. He used this class is raw fabric, raw canvas, I got from art supply stores. They sell the last like a piece at a discount sometimes. I got some of those. You use it as a loading zone. Instead of you adjust the ink here, you do it right on this class. Let me show you. If I okay, this is the ink, and then how do I make the brush? If you try to make the brush split, it's not easy, but it's easier. You do it here. The point is, you want to keep the brush split and with a very little moisture. So the ink left on this canvas is just enough for the next loading. I go back here, not here. This is just a mixing zone. This is the loading zone. Okay, it's too wet. So, see, that's how I got this split brush. For this technique, the first technique is you can also squeeze it to make it flat and split. This is similar to Professor Rod showed us in lesson 12 in Gombe when I asked how to paint a feather. It's the same when you paint a fur. This is to draw the fur, animal fur, with a dry brush hair stroke. I call it. They call it the 丝毛. Just it's hard to translate. 丝 means like silky or silk string, kind of. Yeah, this is stringing. Okay, stringing, dry brush stroke. I just call it dry brush hair stroke in my translation. Okay, this is how you get it, and you can make the brush easier, to split with this kind of, or you can use a piece of. I don't want to show you, but this is how I used it. You can use this because the wetness in the rag. It's easier to make it flat than on a soft paper, and paper takes too much ink. So on some kind of rag, or this is the best because this still maybe too absorbent. So this does not absorb too much. It has, you can easily make the brush dry and a nice split. So use a stiff brush. Let me try this one. I think it will work. Actually, for this purpose, maybe you don't need to soak the brush completely. You can just let it split because when the brush is dry, it tends to split. You have to use your finger. Don't be afraid to get your finger dirty. Just squeeze it to make it ready for this kind of texture. Okay, so I'm sorry I didn't show this page on the screen. So this is the page I talked about. If I enlarge it, it's too big. The resolution is not so high, but you should be able to see. You can see it here, this kind of texture, the hair. So we start from a sketch, and then we do ink, and then using color to continue. The color we use are amber and indigo. Let me just show you the traditional amber. It comes with like a chips. Here's the indigo. Let me get some water here. And let me show you how do I prepare this. So, oops, this is indigo. Also, so this is the indigo chip. I already have it here in the little sake cup I use. And let me get the amber. Another thing is the yellow chunk. These three colors, yellow, blue, and red, or earth red, you know, it's very common. Huh? Oh. I'm sorry. I think you just missed the image, but I'm still working on it, so I'll make it up. Okay. Here's the three primaries traditionally we use in the color because they are very natural. Amber is from the yellow soil. They come in form of chips, and they already come with gelatin glue, so you don't have to add any glue to it. We just put a few there. You can put the whole bag and then just, you know, put it, let it stay on this stacking tray we sell. Also with a lid, this that stack together. And then you just grind with your fingertips. You can use a little warm water, which will be faster to dissolve it, because the gelatin likes to, you know, like warm. But also, you know, physically you can grind it. You can grind to get the amber. Just grind it with the fingertips. Or you can just let it to melt. Maybe after a few minutes, it will be easier to grind. It was, yeah, I see it's become sticky already. I just breaking to let it do its own work. And this is a chunk yellow. It's like a chunk from a bamboo tube, because they put this as a container on the gamboge vine. The sap from the gamboge will form this kind of yellow, and you just brush it off with a wet brush. This is for the yellow. Traditionally, we don't use this on the sparrows, of course. Well, you can use it for the eye to make it orange, you know. This is the vegetable blue, we call it indigo blue. It's from indigo dye, you know. Very nice, cool. So this too makes a gray for the fur, very nice. One, you know, warm, one cool. So let me, let me see which one we want to do a demo. I really want to go to the spontaneous style. So this is a semi-Gombe style. I don't want to spend too much time, but let me just explain here a little bit. So after this, you would use dry brush with the color and do it like 9 layers of the colors. You know, you can use one layer of brown, and then shade with after each layer dry, you can do another layer and another to build the depths, you know, to add. But don't use the. It should all be kind of applied with this shape of the dry brush stroke only, and this could be done on non-absorbent paper also, or sized paper also. Don't have to be on this semi-size shrine, semi-size, yeah. So it should be semi-size or sized paper for this, because you want to apply wet on dry, wet on dry. You can put a note wet on dry. That's method 1. And method B is um, you use a wash first with a soft brush. Let me see. You can use just a regular, basic soft brush, like the giant, like this super wash brush. So you would do a shading with ink. You can mix a little amber to make it warm gray, kind of. So you make a underpainting with a wash first. After this dries, then you apply this kind of scratching or what do you call this? Scrambling, long bristle strokes or hairy strokes to make it, so I have to wait this dry. So wet, dry. After it dries, dry brush on with a dry brush hair stroke. That's number 2. Number 3, you do the dry brush first, just like I did here, and then you just, instead of adding those color with the dry, same kind of stroke, multiple layers, you can just do it in one wash like that. Just color it. You can use a little bit blue, of course, to mute it. I'm sorry, this is too. On the shady part, you can use blue, and then on the hollow, that kind of, if it's backlit, it is warm. So you can wash the color after it dries. You have to wait the ink or color to dry between each steps. So I already translated the steps on this method. We will move on to next page. Yeah, this is my favorite style with split brush. That's what I try to do next. Just to maybe save this. I got a rabbit, but it's okay. Just suppose this is a template, and you can put a clean paper on top of this. Maybe I should do that. We can use semi-sized paper for this dry brush technique. Okay. Let's use the stippling brush. All right, I can't wait to do this. And then you can get some kind of gray. Just blend some ink a little bit, color. It could be a little darker on the tip to start with, and you can. And this is very important. See, just take some extra moisture off and get some feel. You start stippling like that. You just go straight down. Is one way to do it, and you can also make a little line, short line on the edge somehow. Give some directions. So and very importantly, if the brush is not like this shape, you got like a dead dots. Don't step very heavy. Like you just use the tip, just like that. You can do it pretty fast actually. Instead of making a solid dot, I tried to make a mistake here. So this is not good. Okay, this is do this. Oh, by the way, You know the name of squirrel in Chinese is song shu. Song, S-H-O-N-G, means the two meaning, I think, interpretation maybe. I'm not very good at writing, but just to show you. This is the name of a squirrel in Chinese. Song means pine. Most people will think they're just pine rat. This is a rat. Shu, same character as rat because they look like a rat, one of the family member of the rat. I didn't check, but they could be different scientifically. But in Chinese language, we call this kind of animal also rat. Songshu means a rat on pine. Song. Song Shu. But this character song also means loose or fluffy. Puffy or fluffy, like furry, very just like the stuffed animal kind of feel. Song means like this. You try to convey that looseness, fluffiness, or furry, but not solid. Like that. Huh? Oh, 那个 song. Oh, anyway. Pine, yeah. Okay, Victoria says she's from a linguistic point of view, it's a different character for loose or fluffy, but just pine. I think that's official. But I have seen an artist who wrote in the painting of squirrels and pines saying song. Yeah, in his interpretation is to lose. Pine is to lose. Anyway, but it's another word. I think song, songzhe, songye. It's like the hair, right? With the hair radical. Anyway, that don't make it a big deal. But I try to make the point I try to make is you make it look loose and puffy or fluffy or not smooshy. Okay, but you can use wet into wet to create same kind of effect. But here we try to get this feel with dry brush technique. So this is the stroke. But when we actually paint the animal, we need to go with the structure of the body. We try to make the circles or spheres, if you like. So as you see on this handout, okay, let me see if I can make it into a shape. I don't want to use this rabbit, of course. It's misleading sometimes. Actually, on the handout, it has both line and dots. I think for the purity of style, you may just use dots only. Try not to use any line. Just try to make a. Let me see. Okay. We do this one on the right side, so we just draw the shape of this. So how sticking brush is fun, just kind of but some part is soft and light, and some, is dark. Where it's dark is where the muscle is, so like this shoulder part and this thigh part, and just make this back part, except the spine. Maybe we want to give it a little bone, a little darker. Okay. As I mentioned, this thigh is very large compared to the other parts. And now let me make the head. It's another kind of darker part, but not too dark. You want to save the pupil, dark for the pupil. We leave a white space for the eye. So you do the chat, the cheek, the jaw, and you don't do the nose. You use that with a smaller brush for that. And the neck should be soft too. You can leave some more space and then just fill in blanks with a smaller brush. If the brush is too big for small areas, just concentrate on the big in the beginning, just blocking the big. Okay, and see, I didn't do this, then I got too much ink. This is how this class is helpful. We mentioned something like you push the brush instead of pull. This is more like pushing, I think. I noticed that in the real, observation of real squirrels, I see the hair tends to be longer. The hair on the tail tend to be longer than the body. So I use more dots on the body, especially in the summer, I think. Also the hair, in summer, yeah, even the tail got short because the heat, they try to cool themselves maybe, especially in Southern California. We have very short-haired squirrels in the summer. So I can do that. So this could be done with a little hair lining, I mean, linear stroke. You can just, do it with a kick instead of poking directly. You can also do it on the especially on the edge sometimes. Okay, and then we can use a smaller brush. You can use just a landscape brush. Oh, this is a calligraphy General Wang's brush. That's just for the, from the calligraphy class. The ear. You can leave a little highlight on top of the pupil and outline the nose, and you can fill in with a little bit color later. You can leave this little space there. That's the lip. The lower lip is quite under the nose. Something like that. And then you just draw these very long nails because they climb. There are 4 fingers or toes, you call it toe, right? Toes on the front. Okay. Just a suggestion. And then 5 toes. You don't have to do all 5. Just let you know. I tend to use too much more water still, so it should be dry with some whiteness. Then I can wash with colors. It will show better that way. If you fill in all the white, then it's not going to show the color. So you need to leave lots of pockets of white with this split brush technique. So that's just the first step. Then after it dries, you would apply color. And you can also do the other way. So you draw this underpainting with gray first, and then you put the texture on. I prefer to do the dry first for some reason. I think it's more natural to me. But you have to save lots of white. Either way, you have to save. There's another way doing this on the handout. Let me move this up. Let's see. Yeah, we talked about this page. So I showed a little bit here and here, this method. These two just, let's see, what's the difference? Yeah, one is, add color with a thirsty brush. The other is a wet brush. Doesn't really make much difference, but you could do it wet and wet in addition to the or dry. So I think dry may give you more texture. I think the master Shugu does everything dry. That's why it's so loose and so almost translucent. Kind of nothing is solid. So you can apply color with a dry brush, and then you can do it, maybe several layers, something like that. Or you can just do an entire flat wash or graded wash. When this gets dry, it's still wet, I can do it. So that's, and then you can wash the base first with some kind of shading or shape, like a shape. And after this dry, you do the stippling texture. That's methods, one of the method here. And then there's a wet into wet or dark into light, or ink into color. Let me show a quick demo here. So you do the color first. Let's just do the tail part. Okay, and then when it's still dry, before it gets dry, still damp, you add some dark to break it. We call breaking ink technique. Wet into wet, or dark into light, or ink into color. And you can add stripes to some kind of pattern, to add some kind of pattern. There's some sparrows, they come with this kind of stripe pattern. So that's wet into wet. Okay, you can also, do it the back way, color break ink, the breaking ink or breaking color technique. This is our semi-sized paper. You can use unsized paper also for this technique to work the best. So let me show you the direct pouring ink or bonus style. I have a piece of cotton shuan, I believe. Yeah, it's cotton shuan. I marked it here. Smooth side is always the front. All right. And now I use a regular brush. So this is how you if you don't have the spray brush, don't worry. Just use a large brush, or just like a regular soft brush. Should also do, depends on how big the. Let me, to save time, let me just go directly to do a painting, and then I will go step by step again. Okay. Because I want to take advantage of this good piece of paper. I don't want to ruin it just with some diagrams. This is a good piece of paper. I want to show you something. Okay, let me get, so when you have a background, you can do the, let's do the squirrels first, then we do the grapes. It all depends on how convenient. I just happen to have ink and brush ready. So you can do this. You can do this with squirrels first, and then do the background. But you have to have a composition to start with. This composition is like a, here's the vine, and then the host and guest, two guests, maybe one yeah, this could be a couple, this is another single. So try to make a story. That's what we do in terms of composition. So let me make it bigger so you can see. And just, this one has some reflection when I take the picture, but it's okay. I think as long as we can see the shape and everything. Okay, we basically just use ink with a little bit color to, like this color to do the host should be darkest. So we've got more color and more ink. Let me get some ink here so you can see. I'll change the screen. Sorry. All right. I haven't done anything yet. Good. I got some ink, very intense ink. Let me just dilute it. So we will just need a little bit here for the gray. Basically, I would use more ink for the host because they are dark, and then more color, less ink for the guest. That's the plan in terms of importance or host-guest relationship. But I want to dilute the ink so it's not too dark to start with. It's like a 7 out of 10 maybe. So I only need this. I only have this much room. This brush could be too big, but that's good. I can finish everything in one stroke, hopefully. Another thing I need to have is a piece of paper. Emergency blotting paper. Let me just do this. Some absorbent paper. You cannot do without it, okay? So I'll start from the head, and don't put it in the dead center. Let me show you where it should be. if you like, you can draw the control point. I'll just draw a big oval, or, and then maybe a small for the small round shape for the head. So this is about a little away from the center, but because the original is a square, it's square, so you have to put it more in the center. I think in that case, maybe I just put just a little bit off center, and then put a stroke, a triangular shape stroke, and then followed by another smaller triangular shape, and to leave a little space for the ears and eyebrows. Okay, and then I continued with a shoulder. This kind of pulled back a little bit, so let me just do it to. Oops, I think I changed the pose. That's okay. It should be kind of the west and the original kind of bent in, but I think it's more natural this way because it's okay. I add a little dark because I want to emphasize on this thigh, as we mentioned earlier. This is about half of the body's size. And I want to make this part really big. And you can see if I paint slower, I can go back to add stroke before it's too late. And on this paper, this cotton shrine, you see better? I'll turn the lights on. Cotton shrine is white shrine. It has less watermark between strokes. That's sometimes it's good, sometimes maybe not good. If depends on what you want to achieve. Okay, and then I go back. I really don't blend the ink and the color too well. Just let it blend on the paper. So this is kind of like that. Kind of like that. There's another. This should be short. And I don't like the other side of the thigh. Let me wait and see. Okay, here's one stroke for the tail. You can use multiple strokes, but I try to do it because I got large brush. I want to take advantage of this. And I use lot of ink and color. I can even add a little water to this to the heel of the brush. And inject a little bit water with this tool you can get called a sprinkler, like a dropper. Okay, now I just paint with all the load, just like a giant brush like that, and let it bleed to create the furry effect. So basically, I didn't use much dry brush stroke. I just use the wet brush stroke, and if I need, I can use dry brush on wet to create more texture. So that's basically as if I've done one stroke from dark to light, all the way here. You may have to go back to add, but sometimes it just, if I'm lucky, I don't have to add anything. Now I use a small stiff brush. You can use the leaf pen. I just use the calligraphy, general one calligraphy, and use pure ink. I think it's still too wet because I got moisture between the eye, the strokes around the eye, so I need to wait on that. But I can draw this ear. All right. Let me just use the small leaf vein brush. This is the small basic stiff brush, leaf vein brush to do the details. It's easier for you to control, I think. So you can leave a little space and then draw a little nose. Under that, you can draw a double line, you know, or if it's side view, just one curve, and then the lip, and then a little suggestion of the under lip. You can add a little side. This is the top. Okay, whatever. It's just a suggestion, not really. If I paint it big, I may have to make it more clear. So four toes, and then 5. They're small, so you don't need to count them. And you can just suggest the other foot right there. I will wait it dry to do the eye here. Oh, I forgot this. This is how I should use, you know, to stop bleeding. You can just do that. That's why this is here and it's too late. Let me do it again. So we can use this same brush, but this time I use a little more color, less ink, so we even lighter. This should be darker. Let me see if I can do that. We can add a little bit dark. Okay. I try to use dry brush onto wet. So use some paper to dry the brush. Oh, this brush is really falling apart. I need to have a tape. Okay, let me forget that. Oh, that's broken. Just use a regular soft brush and just load with dark ink. This is breaking ink technique. So just add a little dark. I want to make it a little darker. Spray the brush and just kind of skipping on the wet surface, just to add a little dry stroke. You will soft it by itself because it's wet. You know, just kind of add a little definition when it's wet, still wet, right? And it blot it if you think the effect is good. Stop. It will stop. All right. Let me do another one. So this time I make it just lighter than the first one, supposedly, or just with more color. Just make a little distinction. So this one is a little away, looking up, communicating with the other one on top of the tree. So roughly, this is the head, here's the leg. We don't worry about the horizon. We just worry three-dimensional arrangement. And still, I need a little dark on this first stroke. Okay, that should be enough. And then that's for the head. Okay, followed by this one is a little in the front view, the chest. We really don't have to worry about what's what, just the whole shape, you know. That's it. Okay, then you add a little dark for the ear. Blotting. Stop bleeding. And just modify a little bit the shape of the back. Okay, then this is like that. Less detail on this back one. Okay, and then just add the mouth. And the eye. We just start with the pure ink. Oh, this is so dark. It's already dry. You have to be patient. You know, if you want to bleed, avoid bleeding, wait a little more in here. So this, oops, you see it bleeds. Just wait. No other, just time game. You know. Now we add. Because this paper actually is not square, so I don't have room for the third squirrel. I think it will be out of picture. If I have, yeah, that original painting is the squares, so we have to just do it without that third squirrel. So I just paint some fruits here. So for the purple, we need to get a little bit red. You can use rouge or carmine. So I got it here. My old palette. My first palette from college, first year of college. Someone gave me as a gift on my birthday. So this is a very old palette, and it is okay. And I add a little. This is indigo. Indigo. Oops, I got some drop underneath. And I think this is could be some peony red. Doesn't matter. All right. So I'll do the grapes like that. You just do some circle with a little, save a little white in the circle. You don't have to draw really round, but generally, because they overlap, so just group them. If you draw with a sequence, you know, you will see the gradation from red to blue, because I loaded the blue first. And to make it simple, I just skip those green ones. I think on the original it has green, so I just vary a little bit the shape, the color here. This is stands for the behind, the ones the fruits behind, because on grape it has a center stem and then something like that. It's not like wisteria. Like that. And then I do another cluster here. This one is the one he just got, so it's something left over near the bottom. They are very picky. You know, they will pick the fruit and test it. If it's not good, they just throw it away. And then if it's good, they will take multiple ones and then line them up on the wall to consume them. Maybe they carry away some to store. But they are very cute. Very cute to observe them on the tree. They are very nice. Oops, I think I should make it a little different shape. So I don't want to make it equal. So this one is longer. this one's is a wonder. Maybe we can combine another group to make it a little bigger. All right, and for the leaves, the original design idea is to save the dark for the animals. So without any ink, the author just outlined it, and then with a little highlight of green. Why don't we just use color? So we can use yellow instead of green. Or you can use green. I don't think it will be any problem, because this will be like autumn color, very orange color, maybe. Very orange color. Just get some ink to it to mute it a little bit. And vermilion, some dark green yellow we got last time, and add some water. Just okay. So I just add some very vibrant color to it, indicate the harvest season. And you can have some green, so just dark. Just some green color. Okay, so some color on this side. Just half. You don't have to do the whole shit. Just think. Some drying, like an autumn season. So the reason I do this first is because the vine will be behind. If I do vine first, I have to save space for them. So it's just convenient, okay, to do the leaves and the fruits first, and then exhaust this. Just add a little bit here. Okay, here's another thing in terms of composition. You need to decide where the line come from and where it ends. To me, they start from the left side to the right side. So let's hold on that. So I almost did this the wrong way. You can change that into, let's say, should we do it from this side? I think it might be interesting because you're looking at the chi movement. You see the, let me add this before it gets dry. The chi movement, because the flow of the chi, you know. And you want to have a little moisture still there, so not so stiff. When you add the eyes, you want a little bit blur. You want to, you just get a little, from this convenient ink cake, I can get really thick pens with this. I have to use a little white gouache maybe to recover the white. Anyway, and I can use this to dot the grapes. So just keep it small. And let it smear, so you keep it small and let it smear. It will be right. If you dot too heavy, it will be too big. All right, and you can also draw the veins on leaves when it's still wet. I just do that with a little dry brush on wet. This is usually a difficult part. How do you draw veins? Make sure the curve is right. You know, the curve is like this, not like that, not the other way. But you know, it doesn't matter. With some style, you can do that. You know, but generally speaking, you kind of round it up inward, not like the opposite. But sometimes it's fun to reverse it. You know, doesn't matter. As long as you make it look beautiful, that don't have to follow the rules. I also need to add some whiskers. Oops, with this small brush. We need to practice this. And some eyebrow. Just 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I need to add the grape. It's finishing though. Let me add a little. It should be sweet. So that's the red one. Something like that. Okay, blotting paper. Stop reading. All right. Where's the tail of the other? I forgot. Okay, let me add that. Let me just use a spirit brush to clean this up. Just suggestively. Okay. Overlapping create depth. That's good. Okay, now I use you can use the stiff brush. Let me see. Just use any. Let me just use a basic one. I try to stay with the 3 basics. Okay, let's just use this. This is one of the old stiff brush. Okay, here's the one. The 3 basic landscape brush. The 5 basic landscape brush. So I got a little brown with some ink. Diluted it. It should be gray. And just draw the vine. This is the fun part, like a cursive style calligraphy. Let's think about something like a Z to start with. So you don't draw telephone vines, you just draw something more with a sharp turn. Instead of just lazy loops, you make something like this, like that. And dry brush, not just like a, this is okay. Tendril, the tendril lines. Okay, this is the stems of the fruit. It's already taken, so they're empty. Yeah, we will do something on the ground. That's their habit. They just create a mess under it. Okay, now to finish, I usually, this is like a finish outside, then kind of come back. It's interesting. Okay, so actually it finishes here. So just make this the finishing part. This could be all the way here, in front of the tangent, in front of the squirrels. And you can add a little leaf, like a half leaf, to stop the eye. And you can have, instead of adding another squirrel, I don't have room, so we just fill in the space with a little half leaf or something like that. Then this yellow and purple are opposite on the color wheel, so they're what we call complementaries. Yeah. Just goes well together. Add little vein. This leaf vein brush. Just for adding this is called leaf vein brush. Okay. It's almost dry. I'm debating if I need to dot the highlight with the white. We don't have to, I think. And we got the highlights there naturally on the fruits. Oh, forgot the bottom ground with some fruits left over or whatever we call it, drop off ones. Whoops. Maybe some blue ones. If it's too sour, they just leave it. They just throw it away. So I think we just put it in front of him. 3 would be a good number to think when you have a group, create some kind of rhythm. So I think it's like you start here, the story goes around and to the focal point, and then this is the period. So we just put a period there. The dense and sparse. It's a little bit too cool. Let me just add a little red. All right. We could have a stem. This stem, just make it a little interesting. But I don't know if they. Oh yeah, I think the grape has this, but not as long as cherries. When we plant cherries, we really want to exaggerate the stem. Grapes, stem should talk to each other, you know, pointing to each other, something like that. So we really paint not just the form, but the flow of energy. We call it qi in Chinese painting. Very important, different from other form of art, maybe. We also consider more the negative space, the empty space, and try to make sense to the viewer. We don't paint the lawn, the grass, but make you feel it's grounded here. I'm thinking to add a suggestion of the real feet, but I'm not sure. Just a little suggestion. Okay, and I'll sign here. This author just wrote something very plain, spoken language. I think not really poetic. Something saying the grapes are ripen, shining and vibrant red, very sweet, something like that. Sweet, just like what the squirrels are saying. So we just write the grapes are ripen. I think Xu Gu, when he does the peach, he just writes peach is ripen. That's the title of his peach. Okay. I just write, because if I don't write here, it's like your eye will go out here, the chi leaks. So I just write, block this this side, and to keep the chi inside. You can see this whole composition here. Good. I can sign here, but this I can sign here and use a ink. I mean, not ink, use a seal, red ink stamp to weight that corner. I can also use a corner seal there, but I think it's better to leave this front more open, this more blocked. And that's why I try to write on this, on that other, on right side. Okay, get some ink. Now I just use regular red, regular ink. I was using the Japanese blue ink. It has a, but I added the warm to it. It didn't show blue. I added, I changed the temperature. Next time I remember to show you. Without adding the brown, you will show blue tone. Anyway, it's just a different ink has a cool or warm tendency. Very subtle. You check the words. I didn't clean that page, I think. Okay. Got it. I'll show how to write it later in the class site. Okay, and just or you can try Google Translate and then just sentence saying grape is ripened and very sweet. It's very yummy. Okay, and yeah, I can sign with the common era, 2020. This is how we do it. 2020. Yeah, you just learned from the calligraphy class, right? And then my name, Xiaohui, my given name. Okay. And then I put my seal on it. Oh, it's right in front of me. I use only the last name seal. All right, that completes the this painting. This is we call the spontaneous style or direct painting method. Wet on dry. Wet on dry. All right. You can see the color ink tends to get lighter, but after mounting, the vibrancy will return a little bit. Because the overlapping of the grape, in front of this, I think the lightness of the animal fur is just correct because I have the darkest on the leaf and the fruits, so that makes it look like you're seeing the grapes are in between you and the squirrels. So this is in front. This is the front and the back. Yeah, front and the back. So because this overlapping that suggests the distance. If there's a, if this does not overlap, you have to push this back. So this should be much lighter, right? So sometimes the reason will appear if you just do it naturally. I don't really plan this. I just haven't. I supposed to do this much darker because I want to make it to the host and I want to emphasize on that. But our title is the grape. So, they're just guests for the host, the viewer, or the painter. So, so they just come as uninvited guests, right? So yeah. So this is from their points of view, the animal, or from the human point of view. Grape is ripe and how sweet are they? So in Chinese brush painting, there are 3 abilities we need to cultivate. 3 abilities. One is the ability to, to paint, of course. The second is I call it empathy. The feeling, to convey the feeling of what your object is. Try to speak for them, to express the feeling of the animal or the fruits or the mountain or the tree. So empathy is the ability. Try to feel like others, right? That's the definition of empathy. And the third ability is to have a good imagination or memory. I will say memory because you try to capture the moment. Like nowadays we have video on our phone, a camera on our phone, so we can take a picture as we see some moment like this, like the video we saw earlier, on our local tree. When we see this kind of moment, we should, do our best to capture it. You can draw it with whatever in your hand, or try to memorize it, or take a picture with your phone, if you could. But still, you have to. The best way is your mind to make a beautiful. When you after this class, I got a comment from Cassie Faber, and she said yesterday he saw a doe in a deer in her neighborhood, and started to realize how different she saw her after this class. That's what I hope to get you interest in the world around us, the animals, the flowers, in our everyday life. Okay, so not just learn the skills to be able to paint, but you have to paint, to develop those abilities outside the painting, the empathy and memory, good memory. Try to visualize, to see word in new in Sumi eyes. You should have to see differently. 好甜柚，好甜的，好甜柚. I don't know how to translate it. This is like a children's yummy, I think. Okay, this is the title, and we can put another seal. No, because we cannot have 2 seals on both feet, both corners. Balance. You can only have one not on both corners. Just one is enough. If this is higher, then you can have one here. You can have a side seal there. Somehow, you know, if it brings some kind of balance, we call it steelyard balance, right? On its horizon, kind of, you have like a stars here, and then maybe we can put a stop there that goes to stop the eye. Let me see if I can find one. Many of our class members have this seal made, coincident party. I see everything here is a coincidence. So let me just put in coincident party there. I have a domain name, coincidentparty.com. If you type in that, you will jump to ChineseBrushPainting.ning.com, just for your information. Coincident party. Art is a coincident party. And incidentally, after this class, I don't have any teaching class scheduled. However, I have a free lecture with a very remarkable artist, my friend on Facebook, also in life, Mr. Bill Buckman. He is in Florida. He's a musician, jazz musician, abstract and figure painter and poet, multi-talented artist. And we'll have a free lecture next Tuesday. My time is 6:30 in the morning, or East Coast is 9:30 in Florida or New York time. In Asia is 9:30 in the morning.
I know that. I've seen his work. I'll be very excited to see him.
Who is the
Bachman, I do. He does life drawings.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and I know he's a musician.
Yeah.
And, but I just saw a couple of things on YouTube. So I would be anxious to see him.
Okay. Yeah. He's very intellectual, smart.
Yes.
Yeah. He and I would improvise the lecture.
Yes.
So we don't have any limit on what will happen. So because it's in coincident party, so you will be welcome to ask questions and
so you say on Tuesday?
Oh no, next Saturday.
Oh, next Saturday.
Next Saturday, 9:30 Eastern time, 6:30 Pacific time. And in Asia is 9:30 Beijing time. Maybe in Tokyo it's 1 hour different. Can you? Yeah. I hope you can get.
I will.
Yeah, I'll send you an invitation after the class.
Yes.
So basically, we share a lot of art views, like the Zen idea. Just react to the moment and just keep your mind empty. You when you have a certain plan or procedure or goal, you kind of eliminate all the other possibilities. You're not free anymore. So we call this freestyle, right? Yeah. So you have a plan, then you kind of adapt to it. It's just improvising like a jazz. Yeah.
Yep. Well, that's going to be, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I will send you the link. It's not registration is not required. So all you need is the meeting ID and the password. I will send
Okay.
Yeah. If you are on Facebook, you can check my timeline. I already released it, or event. But I will start to promote it after this. I try to do it, like a lot of you sign up the last minute. So if I promote too early, people will forget it. Forget it.
Oh.
All right. So I hope not to bore you. Let's watch the master painting, okay?
Okay.
Relaxing. I'm going to interpret the Chinese of his instructional narratives, okay?
Okay.
Just relax and paint.
Good.
Oh,
I
by the
can
way, do you
relax.
have any painting to show me before I start?
Well, I'm not very excited with it, but I see my mistakes.
Okay, we'll redo this later. It's good. Very good. Yeah.
Well, I see.
Okay, I see, Carol. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Oh yeah. Oh, Susan, you got very nice. Your grape is kind of big, but in the perspective, is right in the front.
Grapes came out huge.
But they do in States. I see like one kind of grape very big. Oh, Wisterias, is that Kale? You also did?
Yes.
Oh, great. Yeah, like Stephanie, very nice. I like that posture, that kind of gentle post standing, like doing this, what you call the Chinese greeting kind of. Okay, very good. Grapes or wine, yeah, beautiful. Okay, I see that. Oh, you did so many studies already, Charlie. Very nice. I like the. I like all of them. The one on the second on your right side. The head could be a little bigger. Other than that, I see that because they are much larger head than rat. You know, otherwise it would look like. To make the head a little larger, Charlie. Yeah. Thank you, Charlie. Okay, let's see. We still have time to practice after this. So there are 3 different styles. Maybe I stop between each style. We do some exercise right away, okay? After I show this master painting lessons, okay? His name is Sun Qifeng. He's like my bridge between contemporary and ancient. You know, he's 100 years old this year, still living and active in painting. Let's see which one is. Let me first try I have a pre-recorded version. Let me see if that will work. Let's see if I can do this. Might have ads. This is an online one. It has ads, but let me start it. Just see if I can. Oh, okay. You can see the strokes. Use soft brush and size. Blocking in the shape. That. And
这壁图要整，不要画的太琐碎了，这就是大轮廓出来了。画的时候墨要薄一点，看到它印的正合适的时候，你就赶紧捂它一下，要不超过了这个限度就不好了。这样 把多余的水分去掉，这就出来了。阴出的这些水头为什么要大一些呢？就是这个地方它阴出一。
Let me stop it and do it again. Sorry, I didn't. Okay, let me mute his voice. Just use my voice this time. Let me do it again. Let me go back a little bit. Okay, after you see, it's if the moment is right, you like the result effect, just blot it to stop it from further smearing, and use a lot of water to start with. And dot the eye with pure ink with a little highlight. And draw the nose shape and the lip, upper lip, the lower lip. Very carefully with this detailed brush. It looks like the rat whisker brush. And 3 strokes on each side of the mouth for the whiskers and some eyebrow. Also, wait until it dries to draw the eyebrow on the left eye, and also add the long toes with the nail, with the red whisker brush or leaf vein brush. With the rouge, a little bit of ink to dot the nose. I just forgot that. I will add to mine. Okay, rouge plus a little ink. Okay, I'll continue. Let me just add the rouge with a little ink to my. Let me see. Okay, you can just add a little. I got some purple in it, and it's okay. I think the book also says the rouge could be in the on the feet also, so you can mix a little red with ink when you draw those toes. I think. Let me see if I have another thing to show you. Yeah, that's the only color you might add, and maybe a little bit inside the ear. I didn't say. So do you want to try this technique? Or I think we should learn the stippling more, okay? So because I already showed this basically in my lesson 14, and you can review that for this like a direct approach, spontaneous style. But I'll show you mainly today is the stippling method, a dot with dry brush strokes. Okay, let me continue with the second demo by Mr. Sun.
That's good.
Okay, I think we missed a little bit. Let me go back. Yep. You can start from the middle of the shape. With this is very useful method to be applied to all styles from spontaneous to gombi or elaborate style. Yeah, start from the middle and then gradually expand to the edge. If you are not good at the drawing, you can put the template behind or draw a very light pencil to start with. Okay. Yeah, after the first layer dries, add more enhancement to make certain areas more shady, or you might call it darker. They don't have really the concept of the Western, shading. This is called shaping, I will say. Just make the muscle part more powerful with a little darker, tones, with overlap another layer of dots. You can also add the hairy strokes around the edge of the tail. You don't have to go through all around, just here and there, except the head. The head should be only short hair, no long hair like that. Yeah, just to add some variation to the outer shape of the squirrel. That's the first step. The next is dry, is wash. Now we add the eye. Leave a little highlight there. And the ear, outline the ear, the left and right. The nose. The lips. Now add the feet, the rear feet and the front. Because he's carrying a fruit or a grape, something like that. Add the whiskers, both sides of the mouth, 3 strokes, or a little more. Brows, eyebrows. Now we start to wash other shade. Before that, we can still add a few more dark dots. You can use a little stronger stroke to indicate some kind of texture. So actually three layers of stippling dots. Okay, he said, don't be too literal to the book or the teacher says. If the book or the teacher tell you the dot 3 times, you can do 2 if it's already enough, you think, or 4 or 5 if you think it's not enough. So don't take anything too literal in the book, from the book or the class, he said. Yeah, now I squeeze out to the eyebrows, he said. And also the under the neck is shady. So don't take, don't be too restrictive. of the instructions from teacher or book. Just rely on your own judgment. Yeah. Okay, the best brush for this is the used bold, not pointed split brush, stiff brush, or wolf hair brush. Okay, now use scrambling instead of a wet wash. You can also do what we call dry wash. Dry wash, scrambling instead of wet into, just to harmonize it. You can just stop right here without a wet wash. Especially in some occasion, depends on the surrounding. This is the best. Just leave it as is. You can also continue by applying some wet wash. Now, for demo purpose, I will show you how to do the wet wash if you decide to go further. Okay, it's very important that the value of your next wash should be much lighter than what you got here. If it's 60%, now you should only apply 30 to 40% gray to wash. Don't destroy this layer with a too dark wash. You have to test and adjust the value of your color or ink tones before you apply to the painting. Yeah, just make sure it's not too dark. If you go too light, you can still add on to it. If it's too dark, you cannot take it off. You can wash you can wet the paper first, but now I show you wet onto dry. Use the blotting paper to control the smearing, to stop the smearing. This is you need to practice to master this method. Wet on dry with the blotting paper. So you paint like a smaller than what you expect to let it expand or smear. Don't go right to the edge to start with. Leave about, leave a little bit space, let it smear. So you paint a little smaller than you expect to let the smearing, let the watercolor do the work for you. Add a little water if it's not enough to dry it out a little bit. You start from the tail, middle of it, not from the end, not from the end, not from the bottom, but from the middle. So look at from the back to the front, because your brush is wetter to start with. So from back to the front. And then you can expand it by repeating from the middle to drive it towards the. You can add water to soften the edge, because it's not expanding enough, not smear enough. So you can add water around the edge. And when it's enough, use the dry paper to blot it, to stop the smearing. Now it gives you the furry effect, the puffy or flowery effect. Now we can introduce another in between style. That is, you draw the underpainting first with light gray. With light. After it dries, it will turn lighter after it dries. Now you cannot steeping. You can see it becomes lighter after it dries now. Test it before you go on the testing paper. Don't do the head first. You start from an important part, like the tail. Once you feel good, when you feel the best time, do the face. When you feel the brush is right, ink is right, go to the face, not starting from the face. The steeping strokes. Just follow the shape from top down. You can be very heavy on the steeping strokes, or very gentle or very light. So it depends on your personal preference. You don't have to stay within the boundary of the original shape. You can go out, like the tail area, or you can cut off a little bit from the original ink shape in those in the area he's working on, the chest area. You can expand it a little bit on the head, or just keep the brush stroke gentle and loose. Okay, after this one, you enhance the shading to add some accent to certain areas, like the under leg, and some make the edge a little hairy. Fill in some gaps. Above the eye, make it a little heavier. The forehead, now dot the pupil. And add ears. Outline the right, then the left, and the nose. Very small nose. With a lip under it. Then add the toes on the rear leg, rear feet. It should be 5, but he does only 3. That's good. 4 toes on the front. He does 4 there. So this nail is quite long. Grab, for climbing. The whiskers, don't forget, 1 long, 2 short. And just some adjustment. That's it. Okay. Well, let me stop the video. Okay. Oops. Okay. Let me just turn it off. Okay. Do you have any questions on how to paint in stippling style? I will do a. Let me see. We can use this technique to copy a masterpiece of or just copy one of his. Let me show you some of the paintings in my collection of Master Sun's. Let me review some of the steps. That's what he did earlier. First, I took some screenshots just to for instead of taking notes, I did some screenshots like that. So you start from the. So this is useful even for the stippling. You can do the wash like those strokes, either after or before stippling strokes, scratching strokes. What do you call that? This is detail of the head. If you want to take notes, please do. It's very clear, right? How he draw this. I think the mouth a little rounded. He added a little stroke in front of that, and then he washed this empty space with some rouge and ink, kind of purple gray. I have a demo I did earlier. I can do that here, maybe. Anyway, so this is the detail. Yeah, see, this is the one with the whiskers. Okay. And that's the last painting we saw. Okay. And this is how he will draw his template or guidelines, you may call it. And he says you can draw the template or sketch according to the stroke direction of the stroke. Yeah. You know what? His painting is good, but it's still in the realistic presentational school. This is I like the direct method, but there's a lot of luck in doing this. You can see that one stroke, with the paper, a big stroke, so nice with all that. But he cannot repeat that. We cannot repeat this. It's all luck. Let's do the classical one. Let me choose one from Shigu. Let me see which one we want. I was going to do maybe Shikishi board or something. Whoops. All right. This is a fan face. So fan face is not absorbent, you know, it's a non-absorbent paper. Can you see the details? Can you see if I enlarge it? This is the auction on one of the auction sites, Sotheby's. Okay, you can see how stylized his eyes are. It's very different, right? Almost his own creature. He has 3 words to describe by art historians. One is so real. His painting just, you know, like not in a representational or assembly, like a like or disalike, but his painting is just capture the essence of the animal or the object, you know, like he emphasizes it's a real feeling of it. And his painting is very very straight. His line is very straight, you know, not so much bending. His line almost like you see how straight this line is, how powerful it is, and very loose. Like we call it xu, like his name, Xu Gu, meaning void, valley, or void, lots of void. When we talk about void, you know, he used his characteristic stroke is a side brush stroke, dry side brush stroke. You can see all that. I use it almost like an axe cutting kind of stroke. You see a lot of this kind of stroke. This is so unique, just different. You see, this one is so good. I love this one. Should I do this one? Yeah, I think this one may be good. It's small, but you know, abstract. I like that, and very straight. Very. Do you all like this? Yeah. You can vote with yes or no. I think if you go participants, you can vote. Let's vote. Let me see, where do I see that? So if you say go to participant, and if you click on green button, we will do this one. Or
yes.
Yes. Okay. This one is on. Yeah, it's natural. It's on a tree.
Yes, Henry, I say yes.
Okay, thank you. I see very absorbent paper is used, which is good. So we all have this kind of paper, I think, semi-incised or incised to work. Okay, I choose semi-sized because I think it will be easier for you to do this because we don't need any smear. We just need patience to do this. So basically, I will start with you can use pencil or charcoal. Where's my charcoal? There it's somewhere. I just use a pencil, but I'll draw this very loosely. I mean, just like the size of the. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll use charcoal to draw a. Should I upload this picture for you? If you want to see, let me upload it. Okay. Okay, I uploaded to the chat room. You can make a copy or something later, but you can just watch this small picture. I don't think you need much reference, not much detail you need to copy, just you know, just the idea of this. So basically, we need to arrange the size and make sure the tail is more than half of the body. I already made a mistake. So I want to make sure I don't make this mistake with the pencil. Because if I make a mistake with the brush, I cannot correct it. So the tail, the tail is a big C, okay? Just draw a big C, another small, kind of squeeze the C for the body, okay? And then an O for the head. And we can start from the body. The tail is light, so body, this is the light. We can start from the eye, but you need to make sure the eye is saved. So you need to maybe draw a little circle for the eye so you don't let your stroke to go in there. And then the pupil is on the front side, just like a cat eye. So a big eye, relatively big, almost maybe 1/5 of the head, but it's near the, he made the eye very close to the nose. So that's a style move. And therefore the ear is here. So, you know, it's kind of what we call kawaii, you know, these days, to make it cute. So you make the eye and the nose very close, but this is still in a triangle. This ears and the nose, right? And the eye in between. So it's about there. That's right. Okay. Then I load the brush with some indigo. I think it would be nice to have some. I don't think any amber in it. Maybe a little bit around the edge. I can see a little bit warm there. So we'll do some, but basically it's a very cool color. So we use a little blue to start with. And I use this magic canvas to make it, always start dry. So, you know, you don't want to make any blob. So just start. On the original, I think it has long stroke to finish, but we just do the shading maybe to start with. It will dry lighter, so I try to make it a little darker than I expect. My brush is kind of big, so it won't take too long to finish this if I just, okay. The head part, let me enlarge it. So we will concentrate on the head. Let's do the head first. Just this part, okay. Let's do this. I just draw. I see it's not a perfect round oval shape. It has a corner here and then a little bit round. See, this is what we call the xu or void or soft. It's lost and found line. A lot of lost and found. Just dotted line of a contour, but not a complete circle or anything. So just the corner of the shape, you know. This keep the nose very low profile because we are looking at it from the bottom up. Okay. I started to correct my drawing. So just make sure it looks like up, it's standing on the tree. So the shady part is lower, what we see here. Oops, I got it too wet already. Let me blot it. Yeah, don't worry if it's, it would turn lighter. So don't keep working on a mistake. So in Western painting sense, you can see some gradation, or you can see shady part more on the lower part. That's almost like a watercolor concept. And then it gets looser and lighter on the top. I see some kind of cross. So you can organize, maybe just making them like intervened. So, but you can do one direction first, and then after it dries, we'll add another. That's my plan. My plan. So keep it in an order kind of thing. So it's a like X crossing or V crossing. Some stroke I will go down, but now I kind of go in one direction first. Then I will do the other direction, right? Okay, my eye compared to the head, it's like too big. Let me measure it. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5. Uh-oh, this eye is certainly too big, huh? Let me see. My head could be too big if I go further. So I just made it too big, maybe. It should be life size. So that's the ear, part like that. That's my ear. So, oh yeah, so if I mark the ear right away, just draw a little corner there. And I just dot the other ear, just mark it. And then you can see actually the hair goes beyond the ear. The ear is buried. That's why, so we are fine, I think. Because I thought the ear marks the margin of the head, the back head, but now I realize it's not. So that's about it. Yeah, this is the ear, and then that's the margin of the. And you can see a lost and found line here indicate the. You can describe it with the neck. That's the jaw line. Okay, under the head is a shady part. This part. Maybe my brush is too wet, I think. I try to keep it dry. But if it's too dry, you don't have much calligraphy. It's all like a fuzzy. That's my that's our dilemma. If the brush is too dry, it looks like a no stroke. Just a gray dust. That's not right. It's dry, but still has this kind of. So let me just steeping it, and then we do the line like Master Sun did. Okay, let me enlarge it so you can see the whole picture, and we just go for it. All right. So Master Sun said you start from the center. If you are not good at drawing, you start from the center, and then you expand to the edge. Try to. You can use some help to. I already draw the control line. You can also use a template under the painting, something like that. And that's the thigh. That's the thigh. And so this is dark, and then gradually lighter, lighter, and then dark again, lighter, lighter to the hip. Okay, I tend to make the same mistake here as I try to avoid. So no stroke, that's not very good. Let me just we do this. Maybe it's too dry. I don't know. But sometimes too wet. It's kind of hard. On this paper, it's very, this is semi-size. I think if I use more sensitive paper, it's maybe easier. So I just need to, because it doesn't take much ink. Okay, so it's a little loose on the belly part. Okay, and that's the thigh. Not very round because this is a shape, like a C, big C, a squeezed C. Yeah, and you can indicate the loosely so the upper side is kind of light, and the dry and the sparse, and this is more dense on the shady part, and this is dense. That we can go back and add more maybe. Just take 3 layers at least, I think. Now I do this tail. The tail has like a bone in the middle, so that middle part could be the emphasis. And you can start to generate a little bit linear, more sticking out kind of. But you can add that later. So basically just do the center with the steeping. And then like we watched in the video, Mr. Sun will do the what do you call this, hairy strokes. Like, okay, this is too wet. I tend to create too much blobs. This is a, you can see why it's so difficult for people to learn to duplicate. He's so patient, I think. So you have to keep the dry brush, apply, multiple times, and then you just wait and wait between stroke, between each layer, I think. When the brush is dry, you can go slow. Yeah, see, my brush is very, very thirsty, but I do very slowly. I go very slowly to get the line I need, all right? It will be different because the paper we use may be different. So you have to use your own judgment in the situation you're in, the challenge, the problem you try to solve. Don't try to follow exactly what the teacher says or the master says. If they tell you to do 3 times, or you do 3 times. When it dry, or you cannot do it wet into wet. Just don't take it too seriously, because anything could be possible. You don't have to stick with what others, or what's your plan. Always open to accidents or adjustment. Okay, let me do a little bit detail why I'm waiting this to dry a little bit. So I'll go with a stiff brush, a calligraphy brush, do the details on the face right away. So let me enlarge it. Okay, now let me do the pupil. I see a little X crossing, just like that. And one thin, one's thick. That indicates a little bit. I see. I don't know if I should do the light first, but anyway, I see two strokes for like a little C, like a the quote mark, just like the quote mark, just like that for the nose. I don't see any lips there, but there's something, could be, just whisker, but it's at the position of where the lip might be. But that's just ambiguity I really like to keep. I don't want to really define everything. Okay, we can just do that like that. And I just use gray, dark gray to do the, remember his style is very stiff, very straightforward, not curved, not, like a nail head stroke. It might be, a problem with the calligraphy, but his strokes like that, nail head strokes, just kicking, and then lighten it a little bit for the next one. Okay, anyway, it's very, I see even he used side brush stroke, but the tip of the brush here is very present. So it's like a very sharp nail. You don't have to do all nail, but you just get one or two, indicate that kind of feel, the bone, the nails, the power of grabbing trees like that. And here, another feet. We should have done the branches actually, but it's okay. So try to imagine where the tree stem is. Here we do this. That's the, four, something like that. Very suggestively, right? Okay, and the ear, I already did this dark, just a crossing stroke, just, emphasis on the tip, and just a little hint on the other. That's so cute. I mean, just the one tiny little dot is enough to suggest the ear on the other side. It's buried in the long hair, maybe some, but so suggestive. We're learning the style of a master, so try to copy the masters. Try to duplicate, reproduce the masterpiece if you wish. And then after you learn, you can do this. After you can even, make a fake painting. Don't sign in the original artist's name, as long as that. You would naturally start to have your own voice or your own style. So that style is something you build up on others. Not, if you try to create your style right away, you most likely you will not get anywhere. So you have to stand on the shoulder of masters or steps. You climb a mountain, you have to take the steps of what others built for you. Okay, so I just washed a little accent, with indigo. I see a lot of indigo in the shady area, and then amber. But in watercolor, we'll do the amber first. So we just do the amber when it's dry, and then we do indigo, right? But the amber is almost, that's why I use this. This amber is so soft, this chip. It's just like the amber you see on this painting. So let's just, we can use the dry technique or the wet technique to save time. Maybe I just use wet. So we can just use wet. Or just, damp brush. I use large brush. So because I really don't see much stroke. Or I'll just wash everything, even the eye could be umber, right? And so, we can go over everything with umber. Just like an underwash. And just add a little kombucha to the eye. Okay. I leave some white, just like flying white. Yeah. Save the white. More amber. Okay, I'll just do quickly around. Let's just go around. Because this has to be very light. So when it's dry, the white should be still feel like a white here. I don't want to lose my white. Maybe I already got too dark, but you learn from mistakes. This is too dark already. So how to make this lighter? Just blot. You can reduce the color by a little bit. It will dry lighter. This is all based on experience. But when you mount it, after you mount it, it will come back. That's the characteristic of this. And you can, another thing you can do to make it lighter is just use water to water it down. Then you just spray something. You see, I spread the margin. This is to stop it from bleeding to the white area, and also to push it back if you have a lot of water. Okay, I just have to see what will happen. Just finish this. You can leave a lot of white, I think. Just we call it let it breathe. So this is maybe too much. What can I do? Just leave it. It could be the selling point. Who knows? People may like that color. Don't worry. But I still want to keep some looseness in this style. So I have some white there, here and there. Okay. Now I have to let it dry. I can use hair dryer, or I can paint the margin. Just you see. Okay, let's just do the leaves. I think the branches maybe let it dry, but we can do the leaves because this part are dry. It's okay to do. look at how abstract he does the veins. So interesting. So it seems that it's a combination of shape and line at work. So you need not to consider anything. It's just like abstract painting. Speaking of abstract, I haven't learned, but I would start to ask this question when I interview Bill. He's a master in abstract painting. So, what's the principle? What's the procedure of abstract painting? I think it's still the same element, like elements of shape, line, dense, sparse. We call it, they call it grouping, that kind of thing. So we just group the shape. Well, my colors. Okay, so some large, some small, some overlapping. Just let it go. And if you keep in one direction, you will see the kind of natural gradation change, gradation and variations. And I see a little bit yellow leaf here because it's in the front. It's in the front. That's the Western interpretation, but I like that. Some yellow in this group. And I got some red. So some red, some yellow, some blue. Basically, it's gray. But I try to create the contrast of my wet, kind of misty leaves with the dry feather strokes here. Just let you know that. So that's good to have some blurry here. The contrast with the dry texture there. And just pay attention on the background, the white background or negative shape. That's the most important part in composition in Chinese painting. We try to make the shape of the white large, small, or some kind of nice. So this basically forms a rhythm, a cluster of like blotting the view from this side, right? And just push the view towards that direction. So it's a diagonal movement here. It goes down to this corner now. So we just do another group here. Okay. Just look at the rhythm. Okay, large and small. And this look like a maple, I will say, or a sycamore. Okay, there's some yellow again. Echo this part here. I will say maybe a little red also. Just make some nice near the face. Let me see. Very tender, very pretty color. And some dark, some light. And, just try to make it look like nature itself did it. We didn't really do it. Just the watercolor did it. Okay. So I will wait this dry to add the dry branch strokes because I cannot do that right now. Okay. My color is a little bit off control, so I'll make it look like what's in our book. But this is how difficult you try to get it in classical way. It's like so how to say, peaceful, comfort. You know, in the ancient time, they don't have this vague thing like a top. You know, like a something too red, too we call it too much fire in modern painting, too much color. We have so much to learn, but just, you know, doing this. There's so little color, but very colorful. How to say? Very, you know, it makes the painting so colorful without using too much color. But I see a big difference here. Maybe I should make it a little further here. Just some blurry. Wet, dry on wet, then make it blurry into background. Okay, I'm still waiting for this to dry. But I can just add some indigo, I think, to finish this this color. It could be added when it's wet, I think. If I use dry brush. And you can also control the effect by adding some, you know, instead of indigo, I have this mineral color. Then we can use, maybe that's too far. Huh? I see a little bit of that gouache kind of opaque color. What I'm going to do it on the back anyhow, so it will be fun. I start to deviate from my plan. It's on the back, so it will dry lighter. And besides, because this is mineral color, if I use it here on purpose, I can do that to make this dark lighter. It covers the ink. You know, I can still paint it on the front if I want, just to make it this part. I see some kind of gouache, kind of opaque blue there. So maybe that's my selling point. Okay. And I want to make a little bit in the front also here. Just and also I want to make it darker to the ear. There. I need to make this part cool, so it contrast with the eye, but I need to make sure it's not going to bleed too much. I use my hand to dry it because the body temperature may help dry it. Let me add some indigo to the blue and then shade this part a little bit. This is a cool. Okay. And this. Actually, you know what? This makes it green. This two color mix, it should be gray, right? Brown and indigo. Gray, yeah. Anyway. Okay, let's just try to get this with a dark. Let me just add indigo to make it cooler. Blood. You can go back after it dries and add more and more and more until you reach the desired effect. You can just make this part cooler. Okay. Now I'm going to draw the veins before it gets too dry. And I mix a little bit blue with ink right here. And I use this this ink cake because it tends not to bleed that much. It has more body. I like this kind of calligraphy. It's like writing, not really like painting at all. I hold the brush high and loosely and just draw and just follow the dance of the master. It's just like a cursive style or something. And it's really just lots of lots and font in his paintings, but it has very clear starting and ending points. It's not very firm, not the looseness like you will say, or very drafty or sketchy. He knows what he is doing. He seems just don't care the what is, but it has the language like writing. We know it's leaves. It's doing the define the leaf, but not really describe it. Just like so. I'm more interested in how he organized those shapes or the lines. This kind of just like bamboo. The bamboo groups that I see here, almost like a bamboo group, 3 strokes, something like that. That's calligraphy. When you write, not paint, you're doing abstract or calligraphy. That's the Eastern painting concept of painting. We say it's writing. Painting is it's written, not painted or drawn. Not try to describe. It's expressive, like that. I just try to duplicate, not duplicate, just simulate. Now I don't have sample. After doing this, I know the trick. Just make even some crossing is made against the law of long. I mean, law of natural, but in painting, as long as you make this like a calligraphy, it's nice, right? It's like writing letters, just writing. Yeah. So we're learning how to do this difficult things. Any kind of flower painting, the veins, right here, from this master Shigu. So I add a little more color to the ink and I see directional movement pointing to the eye, the face of the squirrel here. So it doesn't matter, what this line represents. The more important the direction that points your eye towards our Viva, right? What do you call the main actress? Diva. I forgot what's the name of the main singer in the opera. The hostess, the star of the painting. Okay, now let me see. Yes, it's still wet. I need to make some branches. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, we still have to wait it dry to do the whiskers. Okay. So how's yours going? Let me see. Let me see. Okay, halfway down there. Oh, you almost finished also. Kale. Okay, good.
Okay.
Susan.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Charlie. Oh, good. Yeah, good. Okay, so you almost follow my steps so far. Okay, so the main thing is to keep this dry after before you do the additional. You can add some more stippling in the last the hairs. So let me just use my hair dryer for a minute. I'll turn my sound off so you don't hear this for a minute. All right, now it's dry. And I'm going to add the whiskers first. This whiskers is a part of the style, so it's not the normal stroke that we saw earlier. So it has to go straight. That's his characteristic. His painting with a lot of straight lines. So let me enlarge it so you can see. Let me pin my video. You can see, okay. So you're pinning my video, right? I cannot see myself, but I will take a closer look here. Let me see. Okay, and you can see. I think even this he did with like a dotted lines or lost and found, maybe with several steps. So we can use a little brown to do, or maybe brown could be highlighted. We just use dry brush first, either way. It's just a combination of brown and the dark. So I just go, it's very important to learn his grouping. Okay, so more. And some solid, some void. So that's a void, solid, short and long. And just like this kind of kickback, not going out, but kicking back. Interesting. That's what I read. Okay, something like that. So he against a lot of rules. He used the nail head stroke right there. You see, this is the nail head stroke. But it's very nice. That's it. And now I can use this brush to just same kind of whisker stroke to draw some lines like this. radiate from the eye, maybe, and you know it could be some represent the eyebrows. Okay. So, can you see my? I can zoom in maybe to show you. I need to zoom out when I need it. Okay. So this is to add more texture and integration to, you know, just more definition after the first layer. We can make the ears just a little darker. Here we can enhance that front dot. There's still some dots, you know, some lines, some just kind of like a sketch. You know, you make certain parts shady with this kind of crossing strokes, like little X cutting X crossing strokes. But each stroke is calligraphy. There's a nail head that's characteristic of like just like these nail heads, you know. So it's a calligraphy consistent with the other part of it. And then you move it a little bit. Here's what we do in this part. Oh, interesting. He just kicking back from outside in. That's against my conventional knowledge. So he does a lot of things from outside in, inside out. Doesn't matter. Just it's like chaos, but it has odors. You know, the overall effect is in very good odors. So you just put it in those in the right place to make it to make sense, you know, to the viewer. So this is fur, not something else. And I remember I did this stroke like this. So now I just do the other side of the X kind of crossing, or V kind of crossing. And you can see a lot of dark, right, in this. It's just like a watercolor, believe it or not. We do this in the end of watercolor when you deal with edge, deal with darks, you know you're at the end of the game. It's calligraphy. Yeah. With a small brush, usually. Not too wet. Just okay. I see there's a bone in here. So try to indicate that. And I see some kind of diamond shape there, or just like a lot of characters. Maybe you write certain characters, but you just write. Don't try to depict anything, just adding some calligraphy, just like a ren, you know, like people, like good, just like the good individual character for individual. We paint bamboo, the 3 strokes or the 2 strokes. We write the people. We write the character people. That kind of thing. Then you just add some random dots, not random, some for the shady part, just like the shadow hidden in the under it. You know, I was looking at the mirror when I shaved today, so you can look at my hair to think how you get this kind of effect. You know, this bald hair effect. It's just very sparse hair, right? This is how we do it. Oh, the tail part, we need to see that. This part is generally lighter than the body, so because the body has more weight, you know, so we just use lighter ink and the lesser strokes because, but still, you know, this step is very important to give a definition. With some perspective, even you can see some hair goes that way, and or it's quite realistic, almost like photorealistic, just like, you know, realistic. So that's why his first characteristic as a historian, you know, art historian described, is real. It's so real. Look at this this fluffy tail. Like you can almost feel the volume of it, the roundness of it. You know, like so real. But he does it in an abstract way because he described the feeling, the empathy of it, not just the object, like, you know, photorealistic. He used his, just, you know, the line quality. It just how the stroke behave on different, like you're touching the fur with this. You feel it. You can feel it. Yeah. Okay, so let's do this one. And you can see the perspective even. I can see a curve there and some kickback there. So this is the bone that has some accident, you know, pattern maybe on the fur or something. Just so natural. So, you know, it's just like a second natural to me. Just I'm not copying the masterpiece. I just copy the creature of that, you know, just like a creature. The painting, or ancient painting, is like a primitive painting. You look at this, they're just part of, you know, they are natural themselves, because those ancient artists or primitive people are so natural and so familiar to, you know, what these are. Because today in Shanghai, I don't think you can see squirrels anymore in the Central Park of Shanghai. But when he was painting this, I'm sure he has this maybe in his garden, you know. So he's so familiar with them. You can see how realistic, you know, you won't mistake it with other animals. It's just squirrels, not something else. Now, last thing is dot. So we got line, we got the shaping or shading, and then dot. I already did some, but you can see a lot of dots there, right? And including those this nose part, the eye, this ears. These are all dots. It could be added to, as the last. We can shape that part. Maybe we can enhance. You can accent to this. Just add more dark dots to it. Okay. Listen. Okay, let me see the whole picture again. Let me see. Okay, we can still go light again if we need to make up any gap or anything, we can still adjust the edge, the edge if it's needed. Okay. Oh, the last touch would be the branches. I'm sure he did do it the last, maybe at the same time he did the foot. So I'll just use gray. It's almost like the same value as the veins. And then again, I see the pushing technique here. Instead of, because the movement goes down that way, right? Going to the corner that way. Let me show you here. But he used the brush like we do carving on seal. When I do a vertical stroke, I actually carve up. You know what I mean? So this is the same thing. He pushes back. Although the movement goes down like that, maybe he pushes both ways to get the roughness of it. He just do that one stroke that and then just kick back. So that meet in between. That's the idea. Okay, so and then there's a kick there, down and kick up, almost like a bamboo, right? And this one, this is just in the air. The hand barely touched the branch, but you feel he grabbed something there. It's suggested, not without define anything. This could be branches, leaves, these overlapping here. That's it. Yeah. Okay, and you can just kind of finishing touch. That's the branch. I don't know where it comes from going, but just some lines and basically one long, one short, right? Something like that. And this one cut, kicking back there. I'm sorry, this is too dark. We can just use a little gray. I think he got it. Just kind of cover it up a little bit. And we got some gray, blue on this branch. We just add, I don't know what's this. There's a crossing there. Additional leaf or something. Let's see. I just add a little brown to the branch. Just add a little bit. Add it like highlight. I already have some brown there, but you can add just a little bit shining this, just like against the light. This is highlights. The whiskers, yeah, the whiskers has that, and some just like the hollow, you know, against the light. Often seen around this part of the tail. I don't have much on the brush actually. Just the idea. And some brown there. Just a little accent, you know, here and there. Some pure color. Some warm in the cool. Just to harmonize it a little bit. Okay, let me see. Do I have to add a color in the front of the eye? Let me see. It's a cream brush. Just need some orange color there. But you want to make it a little muted. It's really subtle. You need to make sure it's not overstated, but you want it to be the focal point. So I just add a little vermilion to the amber, or orange to the amber. Just as if it's just pure amber, but just a little yellow there. Okay, maybe I overstate that. Got it. And you can just blend a little bit. There's no highlight, that kind of thing, but just an X. I think the gradation works. Okay, now I need to make the eye a little bit, the surrounding of the eye a little bit darker. But you know, you do not want to lose the white still. I tried not to. I think it's okay now. Just keep airy feel that can still breath in the most shady part. It's still some white there, and yeah, just don't block all the white. Well, I think it looks like too dark on the picture. It looks almost like a mistake there. So okay, so it should be okay. I just brought it away from just a little over. It will be lighter. Yeah, you can see it's already lighter. I blotted. So blotting is very important rescue. And don't complain to me. You know, your paper is not good. You know, too smearing, that kind of thing. This is the beauty of the rice paper. It's different from watercolor, from any other painting or canvas, oil or acrylic. The charm of absorbent paper, and we can use this to paint regular watercolor. You know, if you go to Facebook, you can see a deer I painted after last class. I copied antique oil painting with watercolor on this kind of paper, absorbent paper. So that's. Let me zoom out so you can see my signature later. you can see the whole picture, right? So he signed just with a short name, Xu Gu. Like I will sign with my first name. Because this is so recognizable, we don't have to indicate whose painting we copied, because everybody knows Xu Gu's, I mean, in art circle, everybody knows Xu Gu's masterpiece. Okay. My mission is to be the transmitter, just like Mr. Sun, you know, to make this kind of museum art, to recreate the museum art for you, and you know, so you can do it to continue to this form of painting, and it's known as the scholar amateur style, or literati style. So in the past, it's the game of the literati official scholars. They do not paint it for living. So it's a game. It's just like a fishing, just like other game, it's chess, you know. So this is a game of literati. I'll just sign my name in his style. Try to see if I can do that. Okay, it's just like a nail head stroke. I have to cross this leaf. You can avoid it. Just like a Shiku's stroke. Anyway, I'm going to put a seal. So and this is my name, and 画印 means painting seal, 小灰, the same word, 小灰, painting seal. Okay. Let's put a okay. Where's I see a little branch suggested there. Maybe I should make that up. And something, okay, I think let me just add one last touch. Hopefully not to destroy it. Just very shu. This is what we call the shu. Shu means soft, dry, and soft, or wet and soft. You know, blurry, ambiguous, versus solid, solid. You know, strong. So xu and shi, contrast is the key in any art, I think. Okay, we already passed time. Time is flying. Okay, how's going there? Have you finished yours? Let me take a look. Okay, Okay, you very good. Yes, yes, very nice. I like the tail, and everything. Okay, so then, yeah, your leaves need some veins to define, right? You can spray water if it's too dry.
It's too dry.
Yeah,
My
you can
leaf,
spray some water to wet it, and then after it damp, you can spray water and then wait it to the right moment to draw. You can still do that by spray some water, and then
huh?
wait it to dry a little bit, then draw the veins. Yeah, you can.
Okay, tell me, my leaves are too what?
Okay, the veins to add on the dried leaves. Actually, you can use this kind of stroke that I added the last very loose, dry brush
Yeah,
stroke to be on the. Oh, I see that you already did. That's good.
yeah.
Oh, I didn't see the
But
veins.
they're
You already have.
they're
Yeah, I
very,
thought if you missed the time to do the veins when it's still damp, you can add very dry and loose strokes.
oh, okay.
To the leaf, yeah, but you don't have to do it. You already have it, so
Yeah.
that could be his style too. So yeah, it's a very old style that you add things after it dries. You know, it doesn't have to be blurry like this.
Yeah, they just faded away.
Let me turn off the this sample. Let me see. Okay, turn the window capture. Okay, so now you can see my whole painting. Right? So, yeah. I really didn't stand up to see the whole picture. It looks like I totally rely on the sample. So if I create my own picture, I should, you know, have a better rhythm of the leaves maybe. I see some breakage somewhere, but anyway, it's just a demo, okay? Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the series, and
Yes.
I'll think what next to do. Until then, I'll keep, you know, communicate with you in the online class at ChineseBrushPainting.ning.com on regular basis. So I will see everybody there.
Okay. Thank you, Henry.
And see
Have
you
a good
next
evening.
Saturday in the
Thank you. Thank you,
webinar
Henry.
with Bill. Okay. Don't forget that. I will send you a reminder, send you the information.
Yes, with Bill.
Yeah.
I have his book, his watercolor book, his
Oh, the figure painting.
the figure painting book. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's very creative.
Oh, Charlene, very good. I see that. Let me enlarge yours. Let me see. Unpin mine so I can. Let me see.
Nice.
Charlene, let me get to Charlene. If you mute yourself, we can see the larger picture of you. Maybe. Let me see. I can see a large picture of Charlene. Charlene, can you show the picture again? Let me just pin your video. Okay, now I pin your video. Can you hold it again? Yeah, now I can see bigger picture of yours. Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Okay. Okay, the tail could be a little wider. Yeah. Right. It could be larger on the end. Just create like a ball shape on the end. Yeah, this one. Okay. This is the same. Oh, this is the correct direction, right? It was the back. You have two pieces? Oh. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the first one, right? These are good. Yeah. Okay, I see the head is right. You made it larger, I think. That's good. You need to unmute if you want to talk. You can unmute yourself if you want to speak. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now I can hear you. You have a question?
I think that my
the lines in my leaves are a little too narrow.
I see. Yeah, because it goes all directions. That's the problem. It generally it just go down one direction, so you don't go up or go left, right, all directions. So just keep it going to the natural direction. You know, just
Okay. Okay.
or you can use them to as a eyelid. You know, just pointing to where you want the viewer to see. So that's the idea. Otherwise, just keep it kind of integrate together, not going all directions, but you can have some like a movement, you know. So my leaves going this way mostly, and then turns towards you know, just the tail, like going to the left. Yeah. So just keep it in a circular movement, maybe a C movement generally, but you can still vary a little bit with each individual stroke, but generally they should go with the structural tendency, what we call that, the 势 in Chinese, a structural tendency that guide all the strokes to create the movement of the energy. So diagonal, basically a diagonal, like X, two diagonals. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. See you. Bye bye now. Let me stop.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.